What in the world does a taco have to do with your money? Hi, I'm Julianne Meyer, and welcome to Seizing Your Greatness. Today's guest is bringing the flavor and the fire when it comes to breaking through your financial blocks. Wendy Watson is a business and mindset strategist who helps women transform their relationship with money so they can finally keep it, grow it, and stop self sabotaging their financial goals. Whew, thank goodness. She's the creator of the taco method, a bold, refreshing approach that turns debt into a tool and ends money shame, and it empowers you to build real, lasting wealth. Wendy, I'm thrilled to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
For
Who
those of
doesn't
you,
like tacos?
yeah, I know, right? I mean, and even for the vegetarians, there's potato ones
Yep.
nowadays. So, I mean, there's something for everybody. For those who aren't familiar with Wendy, Wendy's been on this show. Well, this is your first time on this show, but you've been
Yeah.
on the other show, Own Your Wellness, and you've been such a fabulous guest. And I really wanted to bring you here to this group of people because who you are, what you do, what you stand for, and how you help people is not only innovative, it's fun, but it makes things that are technically difficult to talk about and makes them interesting. So, you started the taco method, which I think is phenomenal. And I want to just dive right into what in the world is the taco method?
So it's really about creating using a taco recipe to create your relationship recipe, either with money or with emotions or with yourself,
Mhm.
and figuring out what ingredients you want in your taco and how to scale them. And because somebody might like a lot of guacamole, some people might like a lot of sour cream. So being able to choose that for yourself helps you to re-identify, helps you to bridge gaps, all kinds of different amazing tools.
The thing that I like about what you just said is it's not really money. It's your relationship with yourself and others. And that's really what it all comes down to. Money is the thing, but it's not everything. And there's so many people out there also, I think that they have I don't know, thought that if they have the money, then they'll be happy or they'll get the this or the that or they'll feel this way about themselves, not realizing that, you know what, you can feel that way with or without it. So, what are your thoughts about that?
So whether it's money or the relationships affecting the money or the money affecting the relationships, sometimes we don't know if it's the chicken or the egg. In the last Taconomics class I hosted, we talked about our relationships with receiving money and with financial debt. And a
Mm.
lot of the students that I had in class were really surprised at what their initial relationship with both of those things were and completely re-identified their relationship with those two things in just an hour.
Wow, that is really remarkable. It only takes an hour to make a change. You know,
You
uh,
know?
I'm about to be 47, and I'm like, maybe it's time I actually took a look at this. So you can actually have a significant change in an hour.
Actually, many of the students I had in class had a significant change within like the first 20 minutes.
Wow, that is absolutely crazy. Something that I want to touch on too about what you said previously about the relationship or the money in the relationship, how it all affects each other. It goes back to the chicken or the egg thing that you mentioned too, but in this case, it's the guacamole and the sour cream where they touch each other. They're gonna touch. So it really is. If you touch one, you touch the other. So
Mhm.
um, having worked with so many different students and different, because I'm assuming it's not just one type of person that comes to you, and you've got like all walks of life. But what is something that you see that's common, like a commonality between everyone?
So that they have a negative relationship with financial debt.
So, what does that mean? Because I know that we are all taught debt equals bad, debt equals
Mhm.
shame, debt equals all things negative. So, can you blow my mind here for a second and tell me how debt might actually not be those things?
I mean, if we could view debt as a tool in order to manage our cash flow,
Okay.
then that is much different, right? Because if we spend all of our cash, making sure we're not in debt, then we don't have the cash to invest or the capital to keep the business going. So it's finding that balance between having, right? Because I mean,
Mhm.
even investments, loans, they want to see what your income to debt ratio is.
Yeah.
Not a big surprise in the financial world. So, how do you balance the debt with the receiving and the cash flow, right? And if you're not
Yeah.
receiving, you can't pay off the debt, right? So they all kind of correlate with each other.
So what I'm hearing too is like you're not talking about me going out and buying a whole bunch of new shoes when we're talking about debt. That's not necessarily what you are referring to.
No, no. I'm talking about using, I loved Ryan Jayton's speech like a year and a half ago, how much he loves being $1 million in debt.
Oh yes, I remember. Okay, yes, yes, yes.
Right? Because he sees it as growth, he sees it as opportunity, he sees it as momentum in his business, right?
Mhm,
So if you go into debt purchasing real estate or equipment or loans to finance your business,
mhm.
then you're investing in yourself and you're creating opportunities because then you can use the cash flow or create cash flow with the real estate. There's different things that you can do with that.
Okay, so yeah, because I think was it Dave Ramsey that's always talking about paying everything off, and my dad is a huge like that is totally what he believes, and I can see how that could be appealing to a lot of people, but
Mhm.
if that is keeping you from growing your business, are you even? Is
Right?
that
So
yeah?
right now, right, I'm seeing this huge momentum in my business, and I could use that cash flow to go pay off all my debts.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But that means I'm not spending that money and that cash flow to keep the momentum going in my business while managing the debt.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. I like this. So it's like changing your relationship to what the debt means instead of
Mhm.
like lumping everything together into one thing. Um, yeah, you can actually use it as, and think of it as a positive. Now, I'm
Yes.
just curious, and this is a personal question. What are your thoughts on owning versus renting?
That depends on the situation. I have both owned and I currently rent. I don't being me and it just being me, I don't have a spouse or anything else. I
Mhm.
don't want to deal with all the maintenance and the upkeep and just starting my business, being second year in business. I don't also have the funds right now to be able to hire people to be able to do that. So for me right now, it makes sense to rent. And
Mhm.
in the current real estate market, depending on where you're at, it may or may not make sense to buy.
Well, I live in California and you can get a hovel for about 1,000,000. So, I mean, the place that because we rent and the place where we live now, I would not be able to afford it. Plus, like you mentioned, there are so many things that have happened since I've lived here. The water heater exploded, for
Mhm.
example. I
Yep.
wouldn't have known how to handle that. All I had to do was make a call and somebody was here within minutes and then they put me in a hotel and I'm good to go.
Exactly, exactly, and in business, like, I rented a studio when I got here, but in a year and a half, that studio no longer made sense, so
Mm,
being able to rent, and then I was able to get out of my lease versus if I had bought something,
yeah.
I'd be in a much different position.
So, what I think I'm hearing in bringing it back to the taco method is it doesn't really like guacamole and sour cream, since you use those two examples. One's not better than the other. It's a matter of preference and what is genuinely working for you because there might be a perfect taco, guacamole to sour cream ratio that's out there. And I'm sure there actually is some sort of something that says that. However, that doesn't mean that it makes it right for you as an individual. So,
Absolutely.
how did you come up with this? Like, I mean, I love this idea of using a taco because everybody can relate and it also makes
Yes,
it fun. But how did
yes.
that come into your mind?
I dreamt it. All good things to me come in a dream.
Yeah, actually, I think most of us have that same sort of thing, but most of us don't even realize it. Some of us are awake when we're having the dreams too, without
Right.
realizing that that's what that is. Oh, I love that.
And then I played around with ChatGPT for the names for something catchy and sassy, and
Your
Taconomics came
personality.
up. And actually, a financial advisor reached out to me, and he's got a lot of women that are coming to him that are struggling financially. They're not receiving how much that they want in order to be able to pay to have him strategize their finances.
Mm,
And he's like, is there something that you can create that I can offer my clients in order to help them get clear on their relationship with money so that they can make more, so that they can
mhm,
hire me, so that we can help them financially plan and strategize their money. And I was
mhm,
like, absolutely. It all kind of came around at the same time. And so I think it's brilliant, because then when they go back to hire him, that relationship between the client and the financial advisor is so much easier and
mhm.
clearer, and they're saving money on his consultation fees.
Oh, I like that. It's helping people help themselves and creating a stronger relationship moving forward. Oh, that's a beautiful symbiotic
Right? And who
relationship.
doesn't want a financial advisor that also has their best interest in mind? Right? It's not all
Exactly.
about them, it's about the actual client. And
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. It's interesting because I've had a lot of money, I've had zero money, and I've had everything in between. And when I was really young, because I inherited a lot of cash, I had a financial advisor, and one that was way out of my economic bracket, shall we say. But because of who I knew, I got to have her and use her as my resource. And honestly, I don't think it even served me, to be totally fair. I mean, I didn't lose any money, I gained money, but it was so not in alignment with who I am and was, that I look back and I'm grateful, but I'm wondering, when people work with you too, do they get more of a sense of their guacamole and sour cream? Like, I want to work with this person, or this is what I need from someone.
Yeah, because as they're figuring out what their relationships are with money, it
Hmm.
then narrows down into, okay, does this financial advisor, are they in alignment with my recipe?
Yeah.
Right? Or did my financial advisor recommend this class to me to confirm that he has my best interest or she has my best interest?
Exactly. Wow. I really like that, because having that strength in self and knowing that the right people will come back is a truly remarkable quality to have. And I don't think that
Mhm.
most have that, or are that forward thinking. So, wow. I'm sorry. I'm just a little blown away.
You asked me to blow your mind.
I did. I did. I most certainly asked for that. You get what you ask for, right? So, what's something else that you think that people is kind of like an overarching belief that maybe isn't true for most?
Oh my god. So the other thing that stands out to me right now is a lady said, because she was in fear. One of her words was that she was in fear. And I
Mm,
said, okay, in fear of what? And she's like, well, I've been in debt or lack of money before. Therefore, I feel like I'm going to get there again.
mm,
And it's
yeah.
like, okay, can I make one minor shift? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, have you made money before? She's like, yes. I was like, that means you can make money again. And
Yeah.
she's like, huh. She's like, that's gonna take
Hopeful.
me a minute to like shift, but it's a minor shift, but it's a huge shift because you're looking at the negative and the
Mhm.
scarcity and the fear of being in lack
Yeah.
versus the mindset of abundance and I can and this, and having more,
Yeah.
being able to create more. So you can either be, okay, yes, I've been in debt before, I've lost money before, therefore it can happen again. Or on the other side, I've made money before, therefore I can make money again.
It does sound like a really small shift, but it actually sounds like a major shift when you really think about it, simply because what you focus on expands. And if you're going to tell yourself a story, you might as well tell yourself a good one. I mean,
Right?
what makes you happier? I mean, scared money doesn't make money. So if you're totally afraid, especially, I mean, as an entrepreneur, it's a little bit different if you're a 9 to 5er, but um, you know, people feel your energy. And if you want your day to go better, you want your, the success of who you're being and how you're showing up for your business and the people that you serve, then might be a good idea to think, hey, I can do this.
Right? You might want to be more in abundance mode
Yeah.
than in fear mode, because people aren't going to buy off fear. If
No.
you don't believe in yourself, why
Why
would
would they?
somebody else across the table or across the screen believe in you?
Yeah. It's true too. I actually, working in media, I had a host that I knew she was going to work with me, but I sent her to somebody else and I said, look, here's what's out there. And she came back and she said, why did you send me there? And I said, well, I wanted you to know what you were getting yourself into.
You know what? Sometimes that's what needs to be done. They need to see the difference or
Yeah,
feel the
or just
difference.
to really know, like in the soul,
Hmm.
that this is a good choice. And I think that that's kind of like what the financial advisor is doing with you, like giving people the power to really invest in themselves so that they can make a powerful decision in order to move forward and feel comfortable knowing that they've made a right choice. Because a lot of that, I think people do it as a gamble, like, oh, that person said they're good.
Right, right. The power of the referral.
Hmm.
This person said that they're good. Well, and they may have been good for that person, but you
Mhm.
might be in a totally different industry or in a different situation than they have ever experienced.
Exactly.
For example, like when I went through a fire, like not everybody is well versed on how to financially deal with fires.
No, definitely not. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that about you. Wow. For those that are watching, I've known Wendy for a while, so she never ceases to amaze me with the things that she tells. I'm like, excuse me. So, at the very least, people need to come and find you. So, I
Yeah.
wanted to point out too. All this is good. Like, I put socials here because YouTube, Facebook, all these places. This is your handle, and so that's all people have to do to find you. And I really wanted to talk about what this means too, because we're talking taco now, but you are such a well-rounded spiritual
Oh,
person. So you understand the energy behind everything, which is one of the reasons why I'm so attracted to who you are and what you do, because it's not about necessarily like the object, it's about who you are as a human. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that.
yeah, there's so many cliches or society expectations or whatever, as far as like how we should live life and who we should be and how we should act and all of these things. But you know what? There's a billion people on this planet and there's a billion ways to live a life. And I love throwing everything out the window and figuring it out for myself or figuring it out for my clients, because there's only one recipe that really works, and that's yours.
Yep, I'm going back to taco. You didn't say it, but I
Yeah.
did.
Some people want cauliflower or sweet potatoes
Yes.
or pork carnitas
You're
or,
making me hungry.
al pastor.
Yeah, exactly. And none of those are wrong. It's what you
Yeah.
want and what's right for you. And just because so and so had, I don't know, even steak, for example, just like a skirt steak or whatever, that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that that's what you truly want. Yeah, it tastes good, but is that what you want?
Exactly. And is the ratio right for you? Like, I don't
Uh-huh.
do red onions, so I gotta take all the onions off and I gotta take all the cheese off.
Oh, see now. You had me until then. I'm a cheeseaholic, so
I know.
I definitely. And I actually had somebody recently tell me that I need a card reader told me I needed to knock off the cheese. And I said, darn you. But anyway, something that I've started asking people that I'd love to ask you is, what's something you wish I would have asked?
That is a great question.
Or what's something that you would love to share with the audience that maybe, I don't know, that, whatever pops into your mind, your heart.
Yeah. What's the sassy thing that would make the topping on the taco perfect for you?
I love that. I was talking with somebody earlier today, and we were talking about how people rarely stop and actually think about what they want, especially women.
It might be tahine. It might be whatever that is for you. Maybe it's cinnamon because you're making a dessert taco, right?
Ooh, yes, can't forget dessert taco. See, I didn't even think about a dessert taco, and
There's
I'm a dessert person, so
yeah. There's dessert tacos, there's
yeah.
breakfast tacos, like there's anything that you can create. The
Mhm.
possibilities, you guys, the audience, are limitless.
Mhm. I
Right?
love
Think
that.
about what you want. One of my favorite words in favorite ingredients in most of my relationships is collaboration.
Yes.
Because I want debt to collaborate with my receiving, to collaborate with my investing, to collaborate with my loss of money, right?
Mhm.
There's all good. I want it to work with me. I want it to be a teammate. I want it to be an ally. What is that one special ingredient that creates the foundation or that creates the extra special thing on top that
Mhm.
makes it special for you?
I like that because I think also, and I'm going to use your words and put them in mine a little bit, is go the extra mile. What more could you add? Yeah, it might taste good without the extra topping on there, but imagine how much better it would be. Don't stop. You're not
Yes.
done yet.
Yes, maybe it's some kimchi, right?
Exactly.
Go a
I
little bit
mean,
extra.
why not? And that's
Yeah.
the thing too that I love these analogies because it's so much more fun to remember and think about. It's kind of like, okay, maybe that didn't work out the way you wanted. It doesn't mean you can't get another taco. Like, let's keep
Just
going.
throw that one away and make a new one.
Exactly. Or like you said, pick off the parts that you don't a little too much cheese. Okay, I'm gonna pick that
Maybe
off.
we need to dial it down a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. There's just so many opportunities to things. Oh, I love that idea. Oh my goodness. That's beautiful. And I know that you just recently had a conference.
Yes.
And is that something, I mean, I'd love for you to speak a little bit into that. Is this
Mhm.
something that you're going to be doing on a regular basis?
Oh, yes. It is going to be an annual conference going forward. So it is called the SAS Cash and Class Conference. This year was all about having it all without feeling like we need to sacrifice anything.
Mm.
And next year is all about the new era for women.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes. And
So
our big keynote person is Miss Deb Drummond with
love
the 262 Project. I know she's amazing.
oh,
So, yes.
yeah, and for those of you who are not familiar with the 262 project, check
Yes.
it out.
And going forward, it'll be hybrid.
Oh, hybrid. Interesting. Interesting. I love that. Wow, you're up to so many amazing things.
Thank you.
And always something fresh and new, but the through line is always helping people and always like, making life a little bit more enjoyable for those that are here. And I truly appreciate that. We only have about 40 seconds left. Is there any final thoughts that you have for our audience?
Just break through the stigmas, break through, all the things that somebody might have told you this is the way it shoulda, woulda, coulda done or needs to be, and figure out something that works for you that might break a barrier or break one of those stigmas.
Ooh, yes, stigmas. Those are sticky little stigmas. Well, Wendy, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's always a pleasure. You're always welcome to come back, and we adore you here. So thank
Yeah.
you very much for joining us.
Well, it's always reciprocated.
And for those of you who are watching, thank you so much for being here. We will be back again next week on Thursday. So we'll see you then. Enjoy your week, and bye for now.